Hey, real quick, this video is part of my 12 days of Christmas celebration. And basically, to celebrate the fact that I've been on YouTube for more than a year and the fact that it's Christmas, I'm gonna be doing daily videos for a little while so that you guys can enjoy that. However, I also want this to be a bit of a gift for my girlfriend, so I'm gonna be not having any of these videos edited so that she can take a break from that for a while. Don't worry, I'm also getting her real gifts, don't worry about that. After the 12 days of Christmas are over, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and come back on January 14th, so look forward to that. Hello Internet, my name is the Golden Stalfos, and today we're gonna talk about Death Battle. Now, Death Battle, for anyone who doesn't know, is a show that has been running on the internet for about 10 years, and their videos are consistently the most widely viewed versus battle content on the internet. This is largely due to the fact that they have some of the highest production values of anyone making versus videos. For one thing, they end every video with this big animated fight scene. Now, the quality and style of animation varies wildly between episodes for reasons that are beyond my understanding. And in fact, some of their episodes, like the most recent one, would probably have looked a lot better if they just used Mugen or Jump Force or something like that. And I don't know why they don't do that, but whether or not you like the overall results of the animation, you can't argue that it takes a lot of time and effort and probably money to animate episodes like that, and it's kind of amazing that they can do that on a YouTube channel. So like, that's cool. However, despite these high production values and the clear huge amount of effort that goes into making the show, Screw Attack has two major problems that really hold it back from being what it wants to be. And I say Screw Attack instead of Death Battle in that sentence because Screw Attack seems to have largely abandoned all of their non-Death Battle projects. Nowadays, all the videos they put out are Death Battle commentary, the cast of Death Battle, the mini-sode version of Death Battle called DBX. Like, they've gone all in on this. They used to have a bunch of other secondary content that wasn't related to Death Battle, but I guess it wasn't as popular, so they stopped doing it. I don't know. But it's very clear that what they want is for this show to be authoritative. They say at the beginning of every episode of Death Battle that they're going to settle the question once and for all, as if after they make their video, there can be no further discourse about the issue. And that would be fine if they took the video content seriously enough to actually make a definitive answer to the content, which they don't. That is the big problem. Now, let me be clear. I'm not trying to be mean to the cast of Death Battle or the people who make Screw Attack in general. I may have been mean to them in the past, but it's obvious that they put a lot of time and effort into their videos. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of work animating, editing, scripting. It's a whole thing. They certainly put a lot more effort into their videos than I do. But they don't really make videos specifically about topics which they really care about, but rather just about things that they think will make a good popular video. And because of this, they often come to conclusions and use methodology that makes absolutely no goddamn sense to anyone who, cares about the properties involved. And lots of people have made videos talking about why their methodology is completely flawed. Like, for example, when they tried to prove that Superman could beat Goku in a fight, they used the fact that in order to calculate Goku's maximum speed, they used how long it took him to run along Snake Way in season 1 of DBZ, even though this was like a year before Dragon Ball Super came out. And, not only is this absurd because you're using a feat from the beginning of a series to define the abilities of a character at the end of a series, especially since it's a series that's kind of notorious for breaking the previous power scale and needing to invent a new power scale every fucking season. But also, you're conflating travel speed with combat speed, an issue that obviously isn't equal. And it's so obviously not equal that in a story where Superman is featured, that was brought up. Like, I forget what the name of the comic was because I don't read comics, but there were a whole bunch of people posting it in response to the video. Basically, there was this comic story where, for whatever reason, Wonder Woman and Superman ended up fighting, and Superman lost because he wasn't as fast as her. And when trying to understand that fact, Batman had to tell him, like, bro, there's a difference. Like, I think his exact line was, who's faster, Usain Bolt or Jet Li? Because, like, they're fast in different ways and you can't really compare them. Might have said Bruce Lee. That would make more sense. Jet Li is a different person. I mean, they're both famous movie martial artists, but they're different. And if that was an isolated incident, just a one-off goof, whatever. But it's not like this is their standard methodology. They take whatever random weird nonsense they want and put it together to suit the answer they've already come to. And it doesn't matter how much they have to equate things that aren't equal or twist things around in a way that doesn't make sense to anyone who's familiar with the property, or just misunderstand physics. Um, if they want a specific character to win the match for reasons, usually it's so that it'll be controversial and they'll get a bunch of discussion. Or just because they think more people like this character and therefore will compliment them for standing their fave. I know those two things sound contradictory, but it's kind of a case by case situation. Sometimes one, sometimes the other. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they always come to the wrong conclusion, but they almost always get there in the wrong way, which is just as bad. And this is to say nothing of the way that they select their opponents. Sometimes they select opponents that make sense, or that share a theme, even if they don't really make sense. Like, could Tails beat up Luigi because they're both the second player? Like that makes sense. I mean, it's not really like a meaningful comparison because they're two very different characters from two very different worlds, but they have a common theme, so sure, whatever. But sometimes it's just two characters who like have a shared visual aesthetic, or like one time they had Pikachu fight Blanka, the big fucking green monster guy from Street Fighter, because electricity theming. I mean, that makes no sense, like, on any level. Like, yeah, sure, have the little mouse fight a giant monster man. That's entertaining. Or like, one time they had Mew fight Shadow the Hedgehog because they're both genetically engineered. Their powers have nothing to do with each other. That there's not any relevance there, and they were genetically engineered in different ways for different reasons. So doesn't really fit, but whatever. And they often make matchups without any like shits given to the scale. Like, what is the point of making a 20-minute video about Quicksilver versus the Flash? They operate on entirely different levels. Like, that's like saying what's more dangerous, a firecracker or a nuclear bomb? Like, the answer is so blatantly obvious that it doesn't even need a video. Like, maybe a sentence in another video just to be like, yeah, but Jesus. And sometimes they just have characters fight because they need to fill out the roster, and these are two popular characters. They don't really have anything to do with each other. They just kind of exist in the same genre, I guess. Like they had the Avatar fight fucking Full Metal Alchemist. Like sure, I those are both shows for teenagers that feature a teenage protagonist, so like yeah, they can fight, whatever. Like, I guess you could say that some of the things Ed does are visually similar to bending. Like, he turns rocks into spears sometimes, but they're really completely different systems that don't resemble each other at all. Now, to be fair, not all of these issues pop up in every video, and some videos actually don't have almost any of these issues. But those are few and far between. BTW, the straw that broke the camel's back for me on making this video, was their most recent upload of Madara versus Aizen. Now, this is a very popular fight on the internet, but it was kind of put to bed a couple of years ago by Seth the Programmer in his video about the topic, so if you want some really detailed information, you can watch that. But, as usual, Screw Attack decided that they would come to the exact wrong conclusion and twist things around however they could to get there. And they made two huge mistakes in this video. So the first one is the scale of the characters. Now, nothing against Naruto, but the scale of feats that existed in Naruto during the war arc are about equivalent to the scale of feats that existed in Bleach during the Hueco Mundo arc, which was like 5 arcs before the end of the story. And everything scaled up very dramatically in each arc. So, yeah, the Bleach world just left the Naruto world behind a long time ago. Now, I mean, like, if you compare the current era Boruto stuff, maybe there's some room to talk about how they scale to each other, but Aizen at the end of the series is leagues, like, leaps and bounds and endless amounts stronger than anyone from the war arc. And granted, they made this same mistake in their Ichigo versus Naruto video, so at least they're consistent about their dumbassery, but it is still dumbassery. Okay, that's unfair. It's probably not because they're dumbasses. It's probably because they don't care about these properties too much, and they just figure Naruto's more popular, so that person should win. And the second huge mistake they made was that they fundamentally misunderstood how the two sides' powers work in ways that are blatantly just false. Like, they included a lot of details I wouldn't have expected them to include. Like, they remembered the fact that Madara can switch between Sharingan and Rinnegan, and that he can't do Genjutsu with the Rinnegan. So, like, that's a thing. But then they completely miscategorized how the Sharingan works in relationship to illusion techniques. So one, there's no real way to say that Kyoka's Saigetsu is equivalent to a Genjutsu, right? Like, come on. But if you assume that the techniques are similar for the sake of the battle being doable, that still doesn't mean that Madara could break out of it. For one, your ability to break out of a Genjutsu, even with a magic eye, is limited by your power relative to the power of the Genjutsu caster. And for two, in order to break out of a Genjutsu, you have to know that you're in it in the first place. For example, when Sasuke was fighting Danzo, a man who has literally covered his entire arm with Sharingan, he was able to put Danzo under a Genjutsu so powerful that it caused him to die because he didn't know he was in a genjutsu. I mean, to be clear, the genjutsu didn't kill him. It just caused him to not understand that his Hax timer had run out and therefore he was vulnerable to death. And then he died. But still. It's also worth noting that while certain powers of the Sharingan are not transferred into the Rinnegan is a powered up version of the Sharingan, and we've seen Rinnegan users get trapped in Genjutsu before that they couldn't break out of it just by flexing their eye muscles. And also, the only example they gave in the video of a Sharingan user being able to use their power to break out of a Genjutsu was the fight between Sasuke and Itachi, which Itachi intentionally lost that fight because he was dying and he wanted to pass his will on to Sasuke, and so like anything Sasuke accomplishes in that fight can easily be attributed to Itachi holding back. Like, it's also worth noting, of course, that Itachi's special Sharingan Genjutsu Tsukiyomi can be used at various levels. Like, the first time we saw him use it was against Kakashi, and it was nowhere near the level of power that he demonstrated in the light novel. So, like, clearly using the light novel feat to describe how powerful the Genjutsu is false, because he can choose how powerful it is, and he may have chosen to make it not that powerful when he was going easy on his baby brother. This is all pretty basic stuff that even someone like me, who I don't even really like Naruto that much. Like, I like it enough to talk about it here, but it's not even in my top 10, really. Actually, kind of the same about Bleach. Like, Bleach used to have more of a place in my heart than it does now, but, like, there are better things out there that I've fallen in love with since. And so if I can smell the sloppy bullshit wafting out of this video without even having to go back and check, like, come on, guys. Come on. And it's crazy because they included the information that proves them wrong in their video, right? Like, they mentioned the fact that Aizen was able to completely put under an unnoticeable illusion the fucking Yuak Soul King fusion thing that could see literally everything past, present, and future in all realities all at once. And he was still fooled. He was still tricked. Like, if a literal god who can see everything across all realities, past, present, and future, could not tell he was in an illusion, how is Madara supposed to do that? Madara, the guy who got tricked by a fucking wood clone. Like, Jesus Christ. In the end, it all comes down to this. They constantly get the wrong answer because they constantly use the wrong methodology because they don't care. They put a lot of time and effort and money into their production, but when it comes down to the analysis, the core of the video, the thing that makes or breaks their whole deal, they don't care. They're sloppy, they're lazy. They don't put any effort into it. They don't even think about it. And they're unwilling to learn or grow or change their methodology in any way. One of their earliest videos was Link versus Cloud, and in that video they made a composite of all the different Links using all of their different equipment and powers all together at the same time, even though that makes no sense. And then like a year ago, they remade that video using new calcs for Cloud because of all the new shit that's come out in his universe. But they did the same weird nonsense for Link, and they got the opposite result for no reason. Just, it's absurd and it's sloppy and I hate it. I'm fucking tired of it. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next life. Laters. Hey, Endcard here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Like, seriously though, please subscribe. I have like no subscribers. It's sad. If you want to find me on other social media stuff, you can do that at the Golden Stalfos on basically everything. Links to that are in the description, as well as to some charities I like but am obviously not affiliated with. I also have a Patreon if you like me so much that you want to give me money, though obviously only do that if you have money to burn, and if you do have money to burn, they're the charities I mentioned before. They probably need it more than I do. Mad ups to my girlfriend for doing all the editing for these videos. It's a really big help. Oh, and I occasionally stream on Twitch, so follow me there so you don't miss it. I don't have a formal schedule because when I tried to have a formal schedule, I couldn't keep to it. So, oh well. Okay, thanks. Bye.